Food security bill is back in the news as UP and its allies are slated to discuss the options in front of them tomorrow, I believe. Although the bill was tabled in the last session, the government may be mulling the ordinance option as well. The NewsX debate discusses the politics over food tonight. Joining me will be Tehseen Poonawalla, founder of YouthCongress.com, also representing the Congress party here. Vinod Sharma stays with us, political editor of the Hindustan Times. Biraj Patnaik joins us, Supreme Court appointed special advisor to the Right to Food program. Also joining us right now is Sudhanshu Mittal, leader of the BJP. I'd like to start right away with Biraj Patnaik if I could. Biraj, the Congress claims that it will solve, the food security bill will solve India's hunger crisis. The critics claim it will unleash yet another spate of corruption in the already dilapidated PDS system that is already marred by allegations of corruption. Comments, please.
No, firstly, I don't think anyone can support the claim that the bill is going to bring about a revolution overnight. It is just a very preliminary first step, something that we should have done 67 years ago. This is a step that's coming 67 years too late in a country which is the world's third largest economy today in terms of purchasing power parity and still carries a malnutrition burden where almost half your children are malnourished. So I don't think this bill is going to revolutionize. I don't think the Congress party even expects it. I don't think there is a claim on that in any way. If anything, the bill provides for far less than what many state governments are doing today. You take Chhattisgarh, for example, where they have passed a food security bill which is providing for 90% coverage. Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Madhya Pradesh to some extent.
Tamil Nadu has cheaper rates.
Tamil Nadu, of course, for a long time. So all these states have expanded their BPL and they have lowered the rates. So the bill is not going to help them in terms of further coverage. But what the bill will do, and this is where the opposition comes in, for every single state, whether Congress or BJP or Third Front, you will have the fiscal burden that is currently being borne by the states, which will now be borne by the center because of the expanded coverage. So that's a huge plus point. Second, what the bill is going to do is, it is going to create, through a set of PDS reforms and so on, hopefully, a more systemic effort at reforming the PDS. The public distribution system works very well in about 10 to 12 states. And I hope that this bill, because there's a whole section on PDS reforms, which has been drafted very carefully, and these are positives. On the negative side, of course, it doesn't deal with malnutrition, it doesn't have a grievance redressal system, it's a jobs for the boys. And you know, it's become a tradition that nothing that is remotely pro-poor comes back unmolested from our Prime Minister's office or from the Planning Commission. And therefore, a lot of recommendations that were made by Mrs. Gandhi's National Advisory Council, that were made by civil society,
point
just don't find
I take your point. Before I come to Tehseen and Vinod Sharma, I want to go to the opposition themselves. Mr. Sudhanshu Mittal, you're with us, you're the leader of the BJP. Is this more than, I'm going to ask you directly, is this more, does the BJP think it's more of a push for votes than anything else that you would say it is? This is part of the pro-poor image the Congress really wants to propound just before the 2014 elections?
Fundamentally, no political party can be opposed to food security for its people.
Including yours, sir?
I mean, certainly, yeah, no political, including BJP. Fundamentally, there is this concern that the poor, the underprivileged, or the people who are suffering from malnutrition should be provided state support so that this is a fundamental necessity of its citizen and it should be met with. So on the objective side, on the intent side, none of the political parties can have a debate about it, because at the end of the day, we are a welfare state. You know, India as a democracy has chosen to be a welfare state, and fundamental welfare of people is providing roti, kapda aur makan. So roti usko di jaye, this is a fundamental responsibility of any welfare government. However, the issue is, what are the provisions of the bill? As has been pointed out by my worthy colleague, that India has experimented with food security in Chhattisgarh. We have a Chhattisgarh Food Security Act. Now this act has worked wonderfully on the ground. And unfortunate part of the story is that the provisions of that act are missing in this food security bill.
Fair point.
B, you know, the intent of the government should be genuinely to look after food security for people rather than drawing political mileage. You know, it's vote bank politics and it's vote bank economics.
Okay.
On economic issues, I always believe that no government should attempt vote bank economics because it has wider ramifications.
Okay, Mr. Mittal.
In this bill,
Mr. Mittal.
I would have preferred that,
Mr. Mittal, let Tehseen respond to that. I'll come back to you. This is vote bank politics. This is vote bank economics,
It
Tehseen.
is very, very
No,
unfortunate.
I'm not
It is-
saying.
it
I'm
is
still not
extremely
categorizing
unfortunate
that.
that the
Okay,
people-
Mr. Mittal, I take your point, I'll come back to you. But this is what I'm saying.
It is-
The critics of the bill say that this is nothing. We already have a PDS system in place. Why not tweak it to make it better? Why do we need the food security
Exactly.
bill?
That's a fantastic question. But before I answer that question, let me answer what Mr. Mittal said. It is very unfortunate that the Bharatiya Janata Party thinks that something that is a basic human right. Look, hunger is the worst sort of humiliation any human being can face. And to eliminate hunger is the duty, the moral responsibility of any government, of us. How can we live in a country where our fellow citizens are sleeping hunger? And for the BJP to say that we're doing politics over hunger, over debt, over malnutrition is ridiculous. It just shows the level to which the BJP has fallen as an opposition. They've already destroyed the
Answer
institution
the
of
question
parliament.
then. Answer the
Now,
question. Yeah.
to your question about the PDS, and that's what he raised as well. Chapter 6 of the bill deals in verse about how to make the PDS system all right once again. The grievance mechanism is added in that. People can take their complaints, and therefore the government is also coming out over a period of time with a direct transfer subsidy, so that your food through technology. Yes, it's not available right now for the food bill. I agree, but that has to be the long-term solution. So the long-term solution is food has to reach people. Yes, there will be, and technology has to be brought into play. In the meanwhile, Chapter 6 deals with reforms in the PDS system. That is a complete chapter, word, para. It completely reforms the entire system, and there is also the grievance mechanism placed in within it.
Okay, Tehseen, I want to go into what you've said. I want to discuss the specifics of the deal as well. Before I do that, I want to ask Mr. Sharma this. One more political question on the thing, because we're talking about politics over food. Now, the BJP, sir, is also in a bind. They are loath to see Congress reap the gains of something so obviously populist here, and that's why they don't oppose it. Like Mr. Mittal said, they don't oppose the bill, and they can't be seen as opposing such a bill which is very pro-poor. But they're in a bind because politically they don't want the Congress to reap the gains for it. So they're stuck between the devil and the deep sea, the BJP.
No, see, these things will keep on happening, you know. In the kind of divided polity that we live in, if tomorrow Nataraja was to become the political symbol of a political party, they would say he was a bad dancer. So, I mean, that's the state of play. Insofar as the vote bank politics is concerned, I think we are living in the age of political economy. I think most economic decisions are taken so that they touch the people, that they take relief to people, that they make people, they make their hunger satiate. No, I think that sooner or later the BJP and the Congress will have to come to terms on this bill. You can debate the PDS, the state of the PDS system. You can debate that it will cause additional burden, which I don't think on the states, because you know, already almost 62% of the population, 60 odd percent of the population is covered by the PDS system, and this bill, when it comes, will take it to 67%. And only such states which have huge incidence of poverty, which is beyond their permissible intake, you know, they will have to pay that additional money, you know. Only that additional money will have to be paid, and not anything which has been envisaged in this bill.
Biraj,
So I think that debate on this issue should be informed.
Okay.
These finer points of the legislation should be studied properly.
So you think special
and
session
then
is a better way?
debated honestly.
Special session is a better way, not
think
the
I
ordinance.
personally feel,
Yeah.
and not because any political party wants it that way. You know, when this country has seen a special session on POTA, on TADA, why can't there be a special session on the food security
is
bill?
equally important.
And may I say that the monsoon session should be reserved for the opposition to raise their points of discord with the ruling party.
Okay.
And while permitting the ruling party to take some pursue other legislations which are affecting which will affect the people, will touch the people, like land acquisition,
Right, right.
like whistleblowers bill,
Right.
and there are a whole lot of other legislations meant to check graft.
Point taken. Biraj, I want to talk about the direct transfers. Tehseen also mentioned it. The government wants direct cash transfer. Will that not, in fact, and this is what the government propounds, plug leakages and check corruption?
No. Let's understand this very clearly. There is no proposal for cash transfer within this bill.
This
And
particular
it is-
bill,
right
yes.
now.
Yeah,
No,
right now.
there is no proposal. No one sensible within government. There are some people who keep talking about it, like our beloved deputy chairperson of the planning commission and so on. But no one sensible within government has ever suggested that the food subsidy should be done away with and replaced with cash transfers, because no political regime in the country can do away with procurement. We procure 90 million metric tons today, or 70 million or 80 million. What are you going to do with that if you do cash transfers? Number one. Number two, you don't have the financial architecture, you don't have the technological architecture. So it's a bogey issue, let's just keep it out. I want to mention two things here, Akhtar, on the discussion so far. First, every state stands to gain. I mean, on the question on populism, I have a slightly different view. Democracy is, after all, about votes. It's also about catching people's attention, and it's about benefiting people. Now, if the BJP is in, what is happening today is a very dangerous trend emanating out of the Republic of South Delhi and the Republic of South Bombay, that whenever some program or scheme is brought about which is going to affect the poor, everybody starts screaming hoarse about subsidies. You're not complaining about corruption in defense. You're not complaining about subsidies which the corporate sector is walking away with. When it comes to the poor, we use the word populist. I mean, democracy is about a popular mandate.
Okay.
And
Okay, I get your
therefore
point.
it's,
No, sir, but
I
one
don't
more
think-
point.
I
you
get
know,
your point,
it is,
yeah.
all this talk about direct benefit transfer is being brought under the rubric of DBT. I don't think that is correct. The Prime Minister himself has said, if you are to bring it under DBT, you are going to actually ensure spread of poverty, spread of hunger.
Okay.
Because the money which will go into the banks would actually be spent on other things than food.
I want to go to Mr. Mittal. Mr. Devendra Sharma has also joined us on the phone line, but I'll come to him in just a bit. Stay with us, Mr. Sharma. Mr. Anshu Mittal, my question is this really. First of all, say your point very briefly, then I have a question for you. Very briefly, sir.
See, we are all talking about this bill in the form it is being presented by the government to the nation. As I already explained, none of us are against the provisions of providing food security to people. Now let me just point out one thing. When I said the intent of the government should be honorable, look, by its own admission, the food bill would be 2.41 lakh crore in the first year. What has the government provided for in the budget? It has provided 90,000 crores, and for the food security bill, 2,250 crores.
Right.
Now, now an
These numbers are
exercise
wrong.
which will require 2.41. No, here's the report for you. So
No,
these
no,
numbers are not wrong.
Okay,
No,
Mr.
no, the
Mittal,
numbers
Mr.
are wrong
Mittal, I think there is
simply because
I think Biraj wants to say the number. Yeah,
one second.
Biraj.
The incremental cost of this bill is at most close to 40,000 crores. Why these numbers are wrong, I'm saying, is simply because that when you talk about this bill, what Mr. Mittal's pointed out is correct about the food subsidy. But this bill also has the midday meals, it also has ICDS, it has maternity entitlement.
Other sub-schemes as well.
Many of these programs are already part of the bill.
So they don't have to start anew then.
So you're not going to start afresh.
90,000.
So 40,000 crores is the additional. So if you add everything that's in the bill, which is existing, it comes to about 1,75,000 crores and about 40,000 crores.
Okay, Mr. Mittal, finish very quickly. I have to go to Tehseen after this. Yes.
Secondly, one more point I had to make, can I?
Yes, please. Briefly, sir.
You see, second thing is, you have talked about giving food at a fixed date, which is the right thing to do. But what about the procurement? The cost of procurement cannot be freezed at the same price levels. The incremental cost on the procurement has not been provided for or been catered to in this act. Look, before we enact a law, there is a fundamental requirement that the entire dynamics of its implementation should be well thought about and should be well planned, so that all these schemes do not go in a way which are breeding grounds for corruption and do not meet with the objective for which these have been
Okay, Mr. Mittal. Okay,
formulated.
Tessin, go ahead.
Like-
Yes,
When I
Tessin, go
spoke
ahead.
about, and Mr. Sharma opposed me, when I spoke about technology in food distribution, if you read the bill, it speaks about end-to-end computerization of the PDA system. So that is the first fundamental thing. Secondly, this is a comprehensive mechanism at a national level to end hunger. That is the fundamental difference between this bill and other bills. And therefore, we need this bill to come in. There are progressive reforms in the PDA system, and there are state level as well as district level grievance centers that will be set up based on this bill that will address the problems of unequal distribution.
Okay, Devendra Sharma is on the phone line. Viraj, I'll come to you. Devendra Sharma is on the phone line from Chandigarh. Mr. Sharma, many thanks for joining us on the NewsX debate. First of all, my question to you is the cost of the food security bill. Enormous pressure on the fiscal deficit. We know the fiscal deficit is running away. We cannot handle it right now. It's far above comfortable levels. It will put so much burden on the state coffers. Now, KV Thomas, the food minister, estimates that the subsidy burden will go up from 65,000 crore to about 95,000 crore. What are your thoughts? Won't the fiscal deficit in fact be even more difficult to handle if the government pays for the entire food security bill?
I think the fiscal deficit argument is very interesting and amusing. You know, whenever the poor have to be given some support, there's always a question of fiscal deficit coming in. When the rich have to be given support, nobody talks of fiscal deficit. When we brought in the Sixth Pay Commission, it brings in an additional cost of roughly 1,50,000 crores every year. Nobody has ever talked about fiscal deficit growing. When we brought in the Fifth Pay Commission, the same thing happened. Now you're going in for Seventh Pay Commission, nobody's talking about fiscal deficit. But you have to give something to the poor, everyone starts creaking because, you know, everyone wants that the money that poor gets should get into their pocket only. Now this is very unfortunate. The other part is, the other argument is the CAD thing also going up. You know, we have the current account deficit going up and so on. But you know, this is because when we go on signing WTOs and when we go on signing FTAs, free trade agreements, obviously your imports are increasing. When your imports increase, this also increases the CAD thing.
I get your point, Mr.
I
Sharma.
think the point here is, let's not get into that debate. I think it's just to make fool of us.
Okay.
The other part that you are raising is, the more important part is, does the country need this food bill?
Yeah.
The question here is, this was a shoddy bill prepared by the National Advisory Council. It was not discussed broadly with the people who should be discussing this as a civil society. Then the government sat over it and did all the mischief that we have seen. Now we have a bill which is basically a dressing up of the entire PDS system. Now, if you are going to have only this grievous redressal mechanism, or what grievance redressal mechanism as the effort to bring in right-based approach, you know, when we bring in the cash transfers by April 2014, you know, the people would have the right to go and buy from any shop.
Right.
So
Mr.
the
Sharma, I get your
redressal
point.
mechanism disappears.
I get your point. When India Inc. needs the money, nobody complains. When the poor and the hungry need the money, everybody is up in arms. Viraj, now, I want to ask you this now. NAC member NC Saxena came out in support of this particular bill, and he said this bill is essential for a number of reasons. I want to only enumerate one. He says if the government is worried about its fiscal health, Mr. Saxena says, just tax high earners more. Just put an additional surcharge on income tax paid by those who earn more than 10 lakhs a year and fund the food bill.
Look, when the Supreme Court ordered that the midday meal has to be universalized, you know, this is precisely the argument that the government gave in court, that we don't have the money. And the court said, and I remember Justice Kuldeep's words that day in court, he said, you know, you can't tell us after 60 years that you don't have the money. Please tighten the belt elsewhere. They introduced a cess on petrol and it was done. The fact of the matter is, whether it's the Congress or the BJP, we are not addressing the core issue of mopping up revenues. We have one of the lowest tax to GDP ratios in the developing world. We are not doing anything about that. We have one of the lowest coverage of income tax payers in the country. So if you want revenues, we have one of the highest revenues foregone for any country in the world. Today, government is foregoing close to 80% of its own revenues. Now, I'm not arguing, which a lot of left economists do, that all of this money is going to the corporate sector, but substantive amount of money is going. 65,000 crores is the bill this year for the revenues foregone from the jewelry, from the gold and diamond sectors only. Now, let's have a less of a glittering India and more of a hunger-free India, if you're so concerned.
I have one last question. We are completely out of time,
Right.
but I'm going to get in trouble with my producer, but I'm still going to ask you this question. Do you think that really the food security bill, Chhattisgarh has served as an example for the rest of the country. Do you agree that ever since the ration shop, the private ration shops were shut down and the Gram Panchayat started giving out rations, do you think that has worked? And can the National Food Security Bill learn something from the Chhattisgarh
Absolutely,
model?
absolutely. In fact, I worked in Chhattisgarh. I lived there for 6 years working on this public distribution system. There's one thing that Chhattisgarh has which is completely lacking, which is political will. You know, to his credit, with all his flaws, Dr. Raman Singh, to his credit, had complete political will in backing this. I don't
he
think,
implemented it.
absolutely, and implemented it. And let me tell you that whether it's a Congress in the state or the BJP in the states, unless you have that political will, you're not going to have it implemented. And insofar as the cost about procurements, farmers, the issues that Mr. Mittal is raising, if we had thought about all those issues when we started PDS reforms in Chhattisgarh, we would have never achieved
I
it.
think the key takeaway here
have
is
to go.
yeah, political will has to be there to implement any such
No,
reform.
but for
and-
mobilizing resources, you know, if you take account of the non-performing assets of the banks, no, they are not the assets which have been non-performing assets are not the handiwork of the poor loan taker. Some of the big companies owned by people who dominate debate between two elections through television channels, they are the people who have to pay back the public money.
Absolutely.
And I think you can mobilize those non-performing assets.
I think on that note, sir, I have to conclude the show. We're completely out of time. I must thank all my guests, Sudhanshu Mittal, Devinder Sharma, Tehseen Poonawalla, Vinod Sharma, as well as Biraj Patnaik. Many thanks for joining us. Of course, political will for the food security bill. That's all we have on the NewsX debate tonight. I'm Asar Khan. Good night. To be a good one. Sudhanshu Mittal, leader of the BJP, is still with us. Tehseen Poonawalla continues to stay with us. So does Vinod Sharma, and my colleague Priya Saigal also joined us. I want to come straight to Priya first before I go to Mr. Mittal and my other guests. Priya, really, they're trying to make it sound like that Advani was misinterpreted. He was just praising all the chief ministers that had BJP ruled states. But is that the real story?
No, absolutely not. I mean, nobody would misunderstand what Advani said. Advani was very clear and categorical when he spelled out two chief ministers' roles. He said that while Modi had a state that was already developed, all he did is to make Gujarat better. Whereas Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Raman Singh had a more difficult task. So clearly he was differentiating between the two, and he went on to actually praise Shivraj Singh Chauhan, and he called him a Vajpayee in the making. I mean, in BJP, Vajpayee is the highest praise anybody can get. It is also a nomenclature for a prime ministerial hopeful. So Advani is clearly backing Shivraj Singh Chauhan over Modi. In fact, I was told that after that, an angry Modi called up Rajnath Singh on Sunday. Advani had made these comments on Saturday, and he said that he wants a clarification not by any BJP spokesperson, but he wants it at the highest level, either by Advani or Rajnath Singh. So what we saw today was actually damage control.
Sir, Mr. Mittal, it seems that Mr. Modi's ego got hurt by Mr. Advani's remark. Is that true?
I have been watching with great sense of amusement the drama which has been unfolded by the media on this issue.
But we are only watching you people, Sudhanshu.
I would allow me.
So the
Priya.
media is just reacting. Go ahead, sir. Yes.
Allow me. Please. If you look at the entire clippings in its continuity, then probably you'll understand why I'm so amused about the whole thing. Now, let me, for the benefit of the viewers, give you the factual points which have been shown in that clipping. A. He says, I have complimented Modi ji for making a developed state into a much, much better state. Though he had a state which was already developed, he has really developed it far, and I've complimented him. He says, मैंने उनको अभिनंदन करा उस बात का. Secondly, then he goes on to say, and look, let's look at the context in which the speech is made. He goes to Gwalior, where we are launching the election campaign of Madhya Pradesh for 2013. It's like a poet coming to Delhi and say, look, the audience in Delhi is the most wonderful audience you ever come across as a poet. Now, in a state where you are launching a campaign, are you not expected to eulogize and praise your own chief minister who actually has done such a fantastic thing? Then what does he go on to say? He says, look, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh had the enormous task of development, whereas they were Bimaru states. So in spite of they being Bimaru states, the two chief ministers have done a fantastic job.
Okay, sir,
that is the reason why I am complimenting.
Sir, this is the patented party line, I understand.
One more.
Briefly,
one more thing. Briefly. And thirdly, given the political culture of Madhya Pradesh and the arrogance of Congress leadership, he said, here is a man who's so humble that I can really look at Atalji in him. He had this simplicity. So the context of the simplicity of Shivraj Singh Chauhan was in the context of the leadership of Congress in Madhya Pradesh.
Okay, sir, this is
Now,
exactly
instead
what...
of looking at this in its entirety,
Right.
what are we looking at?
Okay, thank you, sir.
I am really amused.
Mr. Mittal, you've given us the entirety, and now we will take it forward from there. Mr. Vinod Sharma, let me ask you this. If he was just praising the chief ministers of all BJP-ruled states, if he was in Madhya Pradesh starting an election campaign, what is the need to bring Mr. Modi into it? Why couldn't he have just said, Mr. Chauhan is a great chief minister, he's done so much of work. Why the need to involve Mr. Modi unless he was making an indirect attack?
He has involved every single chief minister of BJP.
Right, what was the need, sir?
Let's not...
Okay, let him answer the question, yes.
Why not?
Let him answer.
We are saying we as a political party...
Sir, let him answer the question.
Administering good governance.
Fine,
and
fine.
all our chief ministers
Mr.
have
Mittal,
done such fantastic
you've
work.
had your time, sir. Let Mr. Sharma answer, yes.
No, Sudhanshu has his point of view, and he would appreciate if I don't agree with him entirely. You see, I think when you are listening to a politician, you go by the content of what he says, but also of great importance is the juxtapositioning of facts. And what amuses me about Sudhanshu's argument is that he has totally overlooked the juxtapositioning done by Mr. Vajpayee. All of us know,
Mr. Advani.
by Mr. Advani, all of us know that privately there is a strong group within the BJP which takes exception to the over-projection of the Modi model of governance. When they say you have a time-tested and hugely acceptable model, a hugely acceptable model of Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now, please listen to me, Sudhanshu, fully, that there is a group within the BJP which says that you must project the Vajpayee model. A Vajpayee model was a successful model. It was an inclusive model which augmented the strength of the NDA, they say. And if you are going to project the Modi model, which they don't perceive as an inclusive model, then you are going to not attain what Mr. Advani calls as NDA plus.
Okay.
NDA plus.
Okay.
Mr. Advani has also on record about NDA plus. He said that we must do everything to achieve NDA plus.
Right.
And NDA plus before elections or after elections, according to some people, and I tend to sometimes agree with them, is not possible if you go with Mr. Modi.
Okay, Mr. Mittal, I know you're dying to say something, but I will just come to you before that. I have to go to Tehseen 1 second, and then Priya. Tehseen, really, Mr. Mittal seems to think, and this is the patented party line there as well, that he was just praising a couple of chief ministers who've done really well, whose models of development are well known, and that's what he was doing, nothing else. But 2014 is very close by right now. Do you think there is this internal sort of push and pull that Mr. Advani is in the center of right now, because he doesn't really want Mr. Modi's model of governance, or perhaps even Mr. Modi himself, to come to the center stage?
Let me speak as a student of politics, and I completely agree with what Priya said. Look, if it was as simple as what Mr. Mittal is saying, and I know that he doesn't believe what he's saying himself, I could see him laughing, but if it's as simple as what Mr. Mittal was saying, why didn't Mr. Advani call Mr. Modi humble and like Vajpayee or Raman Singh? He used the term only for the Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister, who sometime back, and let me just remind you, sometime back in Newsx had done this story, said that Mr. Advani is the prime ministerial candidate and he's the patriarch. So they're both returning each other's compliments. Anybody who covers politics in this country, and novice will know that there is factions within the BJP, there is the Modi faction. Ironically, it was the same LK Advani who saved Modi from being dethroned when Atal Bihari Vajpayee wanted to dethrone him after the massacre of 2002, where innocent citizens were murdered. The same Advani who saved Narendra Modi today is doing a Vajpayee. And Mr. Narendra Modi now finds himself in this whole crossfire.
This statesman-like turn that Mr. LK Advani is really taking, the statesman-like turn that he's making right now, do you think that was planned, or did he just get the idea in the rally itself?
No, I think actually it's very funny, in the BJP, everybody wants to be a Vajpayee. Nobody wants to be an Advani. It's really quite amazing over here.
And
Modi wants to be a Vajpayee. This Shivraj Singh Chauhan, exactly.
But sorry, even Advani wants to be a Vajpayee.
Very well said. Even Advani wants to be a Vajpayee.
So, Mr. Mittal, no, one thing. May I support Sudhanshu? Can I support Sudhanshu on a small point? I think that, it should be 2 versus 2. I think that Sudhanshu is right to the extent that the Vajpayee, he didn't say it, but I am adding to his argument, that the Vajpayee name was invoked because the event was happening in Gwalior.
Right.
There's a great strong association between Gwalior and Atal Bihari Vajpayee. I say it because I have covered his elections in Gwalior. He also contested from Vidisha, if I'm not wrong, which is again in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes.
So there is a strong Vajpayee connect between Madhya Pradesh and Vajpayee.
Okay.
But
with
that
Vajpayee.
Modi
But at the
used
same
the
time,
word Vajpayee in
But
Delhi when he was
yes,
here in the SRCC. I
absolutely,
explained
that's
Modi is
and Mr. Advani
wanting to be
knows.
Vajpayee.
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
And Mr. Advani perhaps knows that Mr. Modi may not become Prime Minister for the very reasons for which he himself could not become Prime Minister.
Very well
Which
said.
is
Yes.
So it was,
Very well said,
so it was perhaps more prudent to project an option while
As
having
the
this
next
one
Vajpayee.
Vajpayee.
Mr. Mittal, I know,
Lot of
jokes
points.
apart, I know we have jokes apart, but I really want to ask you this, and I think Tehseen has a point when he says that in case he was just trying to basically project these chief ministers who've done really well, why didn't he say the same about Mr. Modi, about him being humble? It's a well-known fact that he's not exactly, you can't even really call Mr. Modi a humble person.
Even Sudhanshu cannot. I think nobody.
Even you can't call him a humble person, sir. Even you can't call Mr. Modi a humble person.
SI, when we go to Gujarat and we are launching a campaign for the victory of Gujarat in elections, what are the physiologies used and what are the comparisons used? If you look at that, then I don't think this debate would be necessary. You know,
This debate is
you are
happening
really
because your
missing
tallest
out on
leader,
the
sir,
point.
has said certain things.
Allow me.
Yeah.
You are missing out on one core fundamental. That here is a rally which is taking place in Gujarat, which my Vinodji really rightly pointed out. The connotation of Atalji to Gwalior is well known.
Right, right.
And in Madhya Pradesh, in Gwalior, at the time when you are launching a campaign for the victory of Shivraj Singh Chauhan, praising Shivraj Singh Chauhan, even exaggerating in his praise, would augment well for the prospects of the party. Would that be out of place? I mean, give me a break.
No, we're not saying
I mean,
that. No,
let's-
I get it.
let's-
I get it, Mr. Mittal. I get the point we're trying to make is if you were just trying to praise your lieutenants, as you call them, the chief ministers who've really done well for the BJP, why didn't he say the same things for Mr. Modi like he said for Mr. Chauhan? Is there a rift or is he trying to pitch Mr. Chauhan as an alternative to Mr. Modi?
And is Advani looking for a safe seat from Madhya Pradesh?
Just 1 minute. Did he say that? Excuse me. Let me take this
Yeah, Mr.
argument
Mittal,
of
go
yours.
ahead. Yes.
Did he say this about Raman Singh? No. Did he say this about this thing, Manohar Parrikar?
But neither Raman Singh or Manohar Parrikar wants to be Prime Minister.
Exactly.
Allow me.
Okay, let him speak. Let him speak. Yes, yes.
No, allow me.
Yeah.
I mean, the absurdity of this argument which you are propounding is for the seeing. When he goes to Madhya Pradesh, if he's praising Shivraj Singh Chauhan, rightly so. If he's talking about Atalji and Shivraj Singh Chauhan, rightly so. Now, because he's not said Manohar Parrikar is also an incarnation of Atalji, he's not said Raman Singh is also not an incarnation, neither has he mentioned Modi. So why just signal out Modi? Look, we
He has
have
the
a
answer.
predetermined mind. Look, we have a predetermined mind to interpret things the way we want to see
Okay,
them.
sir,
But
I'm
this
going to
will
come to
not work.
Tehseen. I'm going to come to
Let's
Tehseen.
not do that.
Okay, before I come to Tehseen, I just want to ask you one question. Since we're talking about absurd ideas, are you saying this on national television? There is no row within the BJP?
What is wrong? Let me tell you. Having difference of opinion does not mean you have difference in hearts.
Okay, point
I mean,
taken.
manbhed or madbhed, there is
Okay.
a difference between the two.
Okay, point taken.
We are entitled to have a
On
difference of
June
opinion.
30th,
Point taken.
Sudhanshu, on June 30th, some young people who are BJP aligned are going to have a NAMO for PM marathon.
Yeah.
For which they have invited Mr. LK Advani to flag off that marathon. So we'll wait until June 30th to watch that event and see what Mr. Advani says there while flagging off the
Okay,
marathon.
Tehseen, you had a point. Yes, you had an answer to the question that Mr. Mittal raised.
You know what Mittalji raised is, and I take up from where Vinod Sharma ji left off, is what Advani ji said in Madhya Pradesh. It's not just praising Shivraj Singh Chauhan. If he did that, everybody would agree he should do that. Yes, I agree with Priya, he's probably looking for a safe seat like Sushma Swaraj ji from Madhya Pradesh. But what is more important and more seriously is, he goes on to compare the Madhya Pradesh model to the Gujarat model. He doesn't compare it to the Chhattisgarh model, the Goa model. He compares it. And then what he says is, well, you know, Gujarat developed, but Madhya Pradesh has developed phenomenally. Now this comparison is where what leads to...
Chhattisgarh, no.
Okay, no.
that's
It
not
is
the
this
complete,
comparison.
yeah.
He's
You
not
see the
compared this
clip,
to
he
Raman
said,
Singh, he's not compared
first
this
he
to
uses
Goa,
the
he's
word
not compared this to
Chhattisgarh,
any
then he comes to
other
Madhya
model.
Pradesh.
He then goes on to compare compare Shivraj Singh Chauhan to Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and of course the NDA and the BJP is going on the whole growth story and the development story.
I have time for one last question. I'm going to ask Priya that question. Priya, whatever Mr. Mittal might say, whatever leaders might say, Rajnath Singh came out himself, and that, of course, according to your sources, was only because Mr. Modi didn't like it very much. The Goa executive, national executive of BJP is coming up. Do you think things are already started, and this is an indication of what might go down in Goa?
No, actually you summed it up very correctly, because we are told that what is Modi waiting for? He wants to be named as the head of the campaign committee.
At the Goa
Lok Sabha campaign. Now there will be no such big ticket announcement in Goa. This is what I have been told. So Modi will have to wait a little while longer before his name is endorsed. Now this decision can be taken by the parliamentary board or anybody, the BJP itself, but nobody is willing to right now declare Modi's name at the outset, which shows that Advani and I'm told even Nitin Gadkari and some people in the RSS are having their say. There is a lot of this thing. The people are shy of portraying Modi just yet.
Okay, on
I
that
have
note,
a sense of deja vu.
sir.
On Goa, I have a sense
On
of
that note,
deja vu.
Modi,
In 2002, everybody
now.
ganged up against
We have to
Vajpayee
end now.
in Goa. Let us see what happens to Mr. Advani in Goa.
Okay, on that
this
note, I
time.
must conclude the program. It was wonderful talking to all of you. Sudhanshu Mittal, many thanks for joining us. Tehseen Poonawalla, my colleague Priya Saigal, as well as Vinod Sharma. Of course, we'll have to wait and watch what the Goa National Executive of the BJP really brings forth. Till that time, of course, we'll have to wait and watch. And that's all the time we have. Good night.